Hey there everyone, this is Danielle for Living, and today's video is all about Disney. I will be giving you 10 helpful tips for planning a Disney World vacation with extra advice for first timers and a few practical tips at the end of the video. There are a ton of amazing YouTubers out there who know way more about Disney than I do, and personally I love watching them. I will tell you about some of my favorites in this video, but between my visits there and all the research I have done, I feel like I'm giving you a pretty good list of helpful tips. Let me go over the bottom line basic real quick in case you are super new to this wonderful world of Disney. This video is about Disney World, which is the one in Florida and is made up of 4 parks: Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. These 10 tips are not in any specific order or rank, but I will point out the ones which I think are of high importance. So my first tip to having a great Disney vacation and a way easier time planning, and arguably the most important one, is to watch the Disney World YouTubers who really know their stuff. And I am not talking about me. I'm like a peon compared to them. I listed some of my favorites in the description below, but there are literally hundreds of them out there. Even though I have learned a lot by actually going to Disney, I probably have learned just as much, if not more, from watching these amazing YouTubers. Next, I highly suggest to stay on-site at a Disney resort as opposed to off-site, and let me tell you why. There are some really great advantages to doing so. The first, in case you are brand new to Disney vacationing, the term resort is just what they call all of their on-site lodging properties. And there are 3 different levels or categories of resorts at Disney, and those are value, moderate, and deluxe. So on to the perks of staying at a Disney resort. First, and of extreme importance to ride lovers like me, is you get the earliest possible time to reserve your FastPass selections. I'll explain FastPasses in a bit, but they are essentially free ride reservations. So if you are staying at a Disney resort, you can make your FastPass selections 60 days in advance, whereas off-site vacationers can only make their reservations 30 days in advance. Another perk is the free shuttle transportation to all the parks and properties, including the free transportation from the airport. This is important to note because they charge for every night of parking at the resorts, and that can add up to the equivalent cost of a day at the park. But besides the initial transportation to Disney, the free buses, boats, and monorails they have running from the resorts to the parks are so convenient. They run pretty much every 20 minutes, so you never have to wait too long. This kind of goes along with the next perk, which is the commute time to the parks is so much shorter when you are on a Disney property. Most of the resorts are closer than any off-site property, and the Disney shuttles drop you off as close to the park entrances as you can get, closer than Uber or taxi, and definitely closer than if you drive to the parks. Okay, on to my third tip, which is to plan your vacation, even which day you go to which park, by the crowd calendar websites, which are linked below. These things are amazing. Every single day of the year, they rank each park on a crowd scale, and it's so helpful in planning your trip. They show you the least crowded weeks, and they help you plan which days are the least crowded per park during the week that you go. The fourth tip I suggest is for the first timers, and that is to do 1 park per day. There is so much to take in, especially on your first visit. So 1 park per day is more than enough to learn and absorb, in my opinion. Of course, this depends on how long you stay. If you're staying a week or so, the park hopper option, which allows you to visit more than 1 park per day, may be more suitable for you. But if you only have like 4 days, I think the best use of your time will be to do 1 park a day. And of course, it is cheaper to do a base ticket as well. Next, I recommend purchasing a dining plan. Maybe. This is another one of those that conjure up a lot of opinion. If you are a self-proclaimed foodie like me, this may be the best plan for your trip. The great thing about dining plans is that with them, you can get the most bang for your buck, but it works the other way too. You just need to plan ahead a bit and know the value of your snacks and meals. Knowing the best food tips is where YouTubers are extremely helpful, especially the DFBGuide. They have lots of tips about where to use your money wisely. Another helpful piece of dining advice is that for the most popular dining experiences, you can and should make reservations 6 months in advance. I'm talking highly popular places like Cinderella's Castle or dinner at some of the most exclusive restaurants, as well as the restaurants that have the great views of the fireworks. So you need to research which of these highly popular places you really want to go to more than 6 months out so that you're ready to make that reservation at the 6-month mark. Next at number 6 is to research the rides. I love Disney World for a lot of reasons, but the rides are hands down the absolute best part for me. There are so many rides and each park is so unique in what they offer. The first step is to look at the map of each park so you can kind of see what rides they offer and where they are. This way you can maximize your time by riding the rides that are close together as you make your way around the park. Secondly, you can pretty much watch a YouTube video on every single ride at Disney, which will really help with your planning. And lastly, I highly recommend ranking the rides at each park, or at least making a list of the ones you really want to do, so you're all ready to go for your FastPass selections ahead of time. I will list what most consider to be the top 3 most popular rides at each park in the description below. Which brings me to my next tip, because not all rides are created equal, nor are all rides equally accessible, so this next tip is undoubtedly very important, and that is to understand the FastPass system. This will really help you maximize your time at the parks and be able to ride more rides. First, note that FastPasses are free, and they are basically a time reservation system that allow you to reserve a time on 3 rides ahead of your visit. FastPasses can be done on the Disney app or online. Like I said earlier, if you are staying at a Disney resort, you can do this 60 days in advance. You can only reserve 3 a day ahead of time, but, and this is really important, once you use your 3 FastPasses when you're at the park, you can add more. So make those first 3 FastPasses as close together and as early as possible so you can continually add more throughout the day. Now the next tip for FastPasses is a little more complicated, and again, I refer you to those amazing Disney YouTubers who have video on top of video of the FastPass system. But for now, something else you need to know is that in every park except the Magic Kingdom, the rides are on a tier system, which affects what and when you can reserve with your FastPasses. So, Tier 1 rides are typically the most popular and in the highest demand, and you can only reserve 1 of them per day with your initial 3 FastPasses. For example, at Epcot, you would need to choose between Soarin', Frozen, or Test Track for your Tier 1 ride, and then add 2 Tier 2 rides like Mission Space or Living with the Land to complete your FastPass selections for that day. But again, once you ride those 3 FastPass rides, you can keep adding 1 FastPass at a time, no matter the tier, as long as you have the time. It's a little tricky, so I recommend researching this further on YouTube. I really don't know how people plan well for Disney before YouTube. My 8th tip may seem silly, but I think it's actually pretty important, and that is to take care of your magic bands. Disney is typically very high quality in everything they do, but these magic bands are not super secure, especially if you have kids. I would actually recommend an additional securing apparatus, like some sort of glue or duct tape, and I am not kidding. But Disney is extremely helpful if you do lose one, though it may cost you and it will take more time out of your day when the minutes are precious. Next, I am highly suggesting researching the best places to eat at the parks. This will truly be necessary if you are getting the dining plan, so you can maximize your money. But even if you're not getting the dining plan, it is super helpful. Not all food is created equal at Disney, and some of it is really good and some of it is just okay. Again, check out those very resourceful YouTubers for great tips on the best places to eat in each park. They even break them down into snack, quick service, and table service reviews, park to park. I've got to give props to the DFBGuide again for their research in this area, so check them out. One last thing about dining I want to tell you is that if you love to try different kinds of food from all over the world, I highly suggest going in the fall to Epcot's Food and Wine Festival. It is just amazing. The last major tip I have that I think makes everything so much easier is to really learn to maximize the My Disney Experience app. You can do everything on this app, including purchase food and merchandise, check into your hotel, and even open the door to your room. How cool is that? Of course, this is also where you can easily manage FastPasses and dining reservations. It is a super consumer-friendly tool that makes your planning so much easier. Now, I have a few practical tips that will make a big difference when you are at the parks. First, always, every day, bring an umbrella or poncho. It rains quite often in Florida. Next, bring portable chargers for your phones because most people will run out of battery during a day at the parks. And buy souvenirs early. In other words, do not wait till the end of your trip for this. Lastly, wear really good sneakers or waterproof sandals meant for walking all day and break them in before your trip. And you may not believe me, but there are actually YouTube videos on what kind of footwear is best for Disney as well. As we near the end of this video, I hope you've gained some valuable tips, but I also hope I have opened the door for you to discover some amazing Disney YouTubers. I can pretty much guarantee that there is a YouTube video for every question or subject you can think of. So, utilize this amazing tool and it will make your planning and your trip so much more enjoyable. It would be super if you would subscribe and like, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I really hope you can soon enjoy a magical Disney World adventure.